Hey friend, I'm Brandon Gustafson. I help new and aspiring real estate investors launch their assisted living business. In today's video, we're going to be talking about what do you do after you become certified as a Medicaid provider for your assisted living business. If you're interested in learning about that, make sure you stick around for today's video. Hey friend, before we get started on our topic for today, I want to remind you to get over to the website, assistedlivinginvesting.net. We have our free underwriting calculator, links down below for a bunch of other free resources. Make sure you take advantage of those, and it will help you along your journey to help you launch that assisted living business that you've been hoping to launch. For today's video, we're going to be talking about what to do after you get certified as a Medicaid provider in your assisted living business. So the first thing that you need to understand is what that certification process looks like. So the certification process, and we've got a video on this, so make sure you go and watch that. It's going to go really deep into it. But at its core, what you're going to do is you have to start with the governing body that does Medicaid. And that's going to either be like Health and Human Services or Health and Welfare. Each state is slightly different. You just have to find the state agency that is in charge of doing Medicaid. And that can be as simple as doing an internet search for who administers or who's in charge of Medicaid in my state. And that's going to allow you to find that information. Once you know exactly which department you're working with to get certified as a Medicaid provider, you're going to get an application form that you're going to have to fill out. This form is very similar to the form that you're filling out to obtain your facility license. And there's just, it's 3 to 5 pages long, asks a bunch of questions, which population you want to serve, where you're located, how many beds, all of these things, what's your provider number as well. It's going to ask you a bunch of questions about that, but very similar to that application form that you fill out to obtain your facility license. You're also going to need to give them a certificate of insurance. So you need to work with your insurance broker to make sure you get that and provide that. The Medicaid agency is going to want to be listed as an insured body on that, which is very simple to do. Your insurance broker, your insurance agency, they're going to know exactly what that is. It's very easy to do. It's called a COI, a certificate of insurance. It's super easy to get. And then you're also going to need to get bank information. And this is because they need that information so that they can pay you. When you bill them, they need that information so that when you say, we need $1,000, we need $10,000, we need $50,000 for the services that we provided, they're not giving you a check for it. They will directly deposit it in. We've talked about this actually with residents. So I'm going to link this video up as well. But setting up payments for residents and doing that through ACH, it's game changing. So you want to make sure that you do that. And this is how you're going to set up the payments here with Medicaid. So that's core. Those are the things that you're going to need to set up to get that certification in place. Now, let's talk for a second really quick about what it means to be certified. So as a certified Medicaid provider, it basically means those residents who qualify for Medicaid, and they go through their own process to be qualified and be accepted into receiving a Medicaid benefit. It means that you are able to serve that population that is on Medicaid. So they, as a person with a Medicaid benefit, can come to you for services, and their insurance, Medicaid, is going to pay for those services. So that's what it means. You're able to now accept Medicaid residents and get paid for that from Medicaid. If that person does not have Medicaid, or you are not certified as a Medicaid provider, you can bring them in, but you are not going to collect from them because they don't have the money for it. And you can't bill the insurance because you're not a certified Medicaid provider. So you have to make sure these things go hand in hand, that they have their insurance in place and that it is active and current, and that you are certified as Medicaid. Once those two things come together, it's beautiful, and you can get reimbursed from Medicaid for the services that you are rendering. The other thing to note is you can bill Medicaid directly, but often states will have a third-party administrator, and some states have multiple third-party administrators. They are the ones that you need to bill with, and there's probably a different certification type process, not as deep as the one that you go through that we just talked about before to become a Medicaid provider, but you have to get kind of certified and contracted with these different third-party administrators. And once you do that, you're able to accept any of those Medicaid providers, those third-party administrators. If a resident is on any one of them, you can accept them if you are kind of contracted with them. So as an example, in Idaho, there's actually 3 administrators of Medicaid. There's the state-based, there's Molina Healthcare, and there's Blue Cross of Idaho, and we are contracted with all three of those, so we can accept anybody. But let's say we decided not to do Molina, or we didn't renew Molina for whatever reason, we would only be able to do Blue Cross of Idaho and the state, and that means that anybody that was on Molina, we would not be getting reimbursed for. So you want to make sure that you are understanding exactly what that looks like in your state, so that you are getting the appropriate contracts in place, you're working with the different insurances, and making sure that you can get reimbursed the way that you need to run your facility and be profitable as you're going about doing that. Now let's talk about finding those residents, and this is key. Now that you are a Medicaid certified provider, you need to find those Medicaid residents. You need to go out and go talk to them and bring them into the facility and fill those beds with those Medicaid residents. So where do you do that? It's a great question, and something that I actually have had a lot of conversations with people recently about. It's very similar to private pay. You're going to be looking and advertising and socializing who you are and the population you serve to very much the same population that you would if you were looking at a private pay. Maybe it's unless you're a super high-end amenities and things like that, maybe we're looking at something slightly different. But for the most part, you're working with the same types of people and the same lead sources to help you get those beds full and help find those Medicaid residents. So some of those ways that you can do this is working with their case managers. So each Medicaid resident is going to have a case manager, and oftentimes those are case management companies. If you start developing relationships with those case management companies, it's going to allow you to get a good lead source and start bringing people into the home. The next one would be to get with Medicaid, with Health and Welfare or Health and Human Services, whoever that governing body is. Oftentimes they'll have some kind of a list that gives you an idea of either who those case management companies are or ways that you can reach out to these Medicaid residents so you can get in front of them. What are some of the programs that they are involved with, and can you do some partnership things with them and get in front of those people that need your services that may not be aware of who you are. So getting in contact with them, getting that list or some resources around that from the people that are administering Medicaid is also something that's going to be really useful to you in finding where those people are and how you can bring them into the facility. You also want to just kind of become active and involved in the world where these people are. So this could be different programs. It could be being on Facebook. A lot of these people are on Facebook and creating some advertising from that standpoint. It could be going to, if they have a fall or something somewhere, maybe they've been in the hospital, talking to the discharge nurse is great. Talking to rehab facilities, going out and going to hair salons. There's so many different places where this group of people is congregating and where they're active. And you want to find out where they are in your specific geographic location and spend some time there and make sure you're advertising yourself and getting your name out there, because this is how people are going to know who you are. You can't just throw up a sign and be like, cool, everybody's going to come. This is not the Field of Dreams where if you build it, they will come. This is something you got to work for, and you've got to go find those residents and bring them in. They are out there. You can find them. But you have to put forth an effort for you to be able to make some progress and actually get those residents and start bringing them into your facility. And the next thing I wanted to talk about was billing for Medicaid. So once you become a Medicaid certified provider, you are actually able to bill Medicaid. And the way that works is you're going to, I've talked about this several times. We'll link up one of my Medicaid videos up above so you can go really deep into this, but you're getting paid two ways. One of them is coming from the resident through their Social Security, and the state will actually tell you how much of that money you can collect. They oftentimes are reevaluating that on an annual basis, at least annually. So you want to make sure you stay on top of that and figure out exactly what you can bill. The next way is billing a daily rate directly to Medicaid or the third-party administrator who is helping make those payments. The daily rate that you bill is set by that case management company in conjunction with doctors and nurses and the care team for that resident. What you want to do on a regular basis, and I've talked about this. If you're interested in learning about how to do assessments, comment assessment down below, because it will let me know that this is a really good topic for you. But you're going to be looking at doing an assessment at least annually, certainly when they come into the facility, at least annually, or when there is a big shift in the care that they are provided. You want to do that, and then you want to hand that off to case managers and be like, hey, we're doing a lot more for Susie over here. can you reevaluate this and see, is it appropriate to raise the rate? You as an individual cannot do that, but you can go through a process to get higher rates based off of the amount of care that you're providing to your residents. It's just not as cut and dry as it is for a private pay resident where you just do it and it's good. It is a more lengthy process. What's nice is you can actually back bill this if you do it correctly, but I digress. So once you do this, you want to make sure you're keeping accurate records. You want to make sure you have the billing codes that you need for your state for the services you're providing, and you're going to go in on a regular cadence and you bill them. Oftentimes, you can bill them as often as you want. Most of the time, though, each of those third-party administrators or Medicaid itself will only pay out on a weekly basis. So you just kind of want to get into a good cadence. We actually bill every other week, so we can get some decent cash flow coming in. It helps us out and makes the process of billing go much more smoothly because we're in there so frequently and we know what's going on. And when there's an issue, we're aware of it. But we can do that. We bill that billing code. We set the daily rate. We put it in there and we bill, and then on a typically within 5 to 10 business days, they are paying us and getting us the information that we need so that we can then just kind of get the money. And the more consistent you are at billing that and being consistent with that, the more prompt they become in responding to your emails and saying, yep, this provider is actually really good for me to work with. And then those payments start coming and you kind of get into a groove of exactly how those payments are going to come. So that's kind of how you deal with billing with Medicaid. And it's super beneficial. So in today's video, just to quickly recap, we've been talking about what to do after you become certified as a Medicaid provider. We went through a little bit deeper into how to get certified, what it means to be certified. Then we started getting into how to go find those residents and how to bill, which at its core are the two things that you have to do. You also want to make sure that you're paying attention to make sure that your coverage is not going to lapse, that you remain certified as a Medicaid provider, and that your residents also don't have a lapse in coverage with Medicaid. Because if one of those two things happens, we talked about how this thing just like comes together and it's great. One of them is off up here, it doesn't work, and you have issues. So you have to stay on top of it. This is a big reason why people don't like Medicaid, is you have to just make sure everything is always aligned, or you're going to have some friction and some issues, and it can delay payments and things like that. So you just want to make sure that you're aware of that as you get into doing this. If you found this video to be helpful, make sure you like, subscribe, and ring the bell as well so you get notified when we put out this content. We're putting things out twice a week, Tuesdays in a live session and Thursdays here in the long form content to give you information that is helpful to you. Comment down below if you have topics that would be helpful to you as you are trying to launch your assisted living business. And make sure you get over to the website, assistedlivinginvesting.net. Have a bunch of free resources linked down below. You can get the free underwriting calculator as well by going over to the website. And I have a few other programs. The business planning guide is going to help you build that business plan, do the underwriting to help you really get a leg up in starting that business and getting to where you want to be to achieve your goals. And we also have the mastermind. So assistedlivinginvesting.net/mastermind. We will link that down below as well. So you can go there, learn a little bit more about the mastermind, see if it's a good fit for you. But really at its core, it's a 12-month program where we get to work together, group coaching, some one-on-one situations, and we're going to help you build that business plan, find the property, get the funding in place, and get the facility license so you can launch that assisted living business. Does residential assisted living sound interesting to you, but you don't know how to get started? At assistedlivinginvesting.net, we are here to help you through the process, start to finish, helping you launch your assisted living business to create that time and financial freedom that you're looking for. And I want to remind you, it doesn't take a lot, just a little bit. Keep going step by step by step. If you keep going and you're consistent and persistent, I promise you're going to be successful. Thanks for watching and have a great day.